So you got the Snyder Cut. Are you happy now? Hey, what's up, nerd fam? This is your boy Gershon. I'm gonna welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today, we talk about the Snyder Cut. So after all the hashtags and all the anticipation, it's finally here. So what did I think about it? It's really what this video is about. Now, before, I want to make a little disclaimer, because for a particular subset of fans, when it comes to Zack Snyder in particular, I have to put this out there. There'll be things here that you will probably not agree with. So understand that that's okay. We can all be fans of stuff and have differing opinions. That does not mean that you have to disparage said person who is going to be disagreeing. You can disagree, say why you think that what I'm saying is wrong. That's good. That's okay. I love other opinions. But if you can't do anything but hurl insults instead of just have a different opinion, then perhaps this isn't the video for you. Maybe the internet just isn't for you, because there's tons of differing opinions. But just wanted to put that out there because there will be some things that you don't agree with. I just wanted to soften the blow for you ahead of time, okay? So let's move forward. I will start with some major positives. This movie is better than the original. Absolutely, in a lot of ways. There were things that Zack Snyder had in his movie that Whedon cut, which didn't even make sense for Whedon to cut. It actually gave more to particular character stories. Like Cyborg is the most obvious. He actually had an arc. His origin was there. He was central to the plot. So I can see why Ray Fisher was so mad. In terms of Wonder Woman was definitely given more justice. She's definitely much more powerful. She's definitely much more ruthless in terms of how she dispatched of those bank robbers in front of the kids. It's pretty awesome. I love that. Yes, this was a rated R film, and I guess, it gave him the leeway for her to, to add the blood splatter and stuff like that, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Still, the Amazons in general were done much better in this film. Absolutely. Certain dialogue was better. There wasn't all this weird, awkward humor like, Batman constantly bringing up if Jason Momoa's Aquaman always, talked to fish or something like that. And even though Ezra Miller's Flash was still awkward, he wasn't as awkward. He wasn't making jokes about brunch and stuff like that. That just didn't exist, which is, a relief. It's a better film. It definitely is. Even in terms of certain action pieces, like when Superman came in at the end, that was better than what happened in the first one. Even that whole entire, the climax of the film was just better. They worked together as a team. Speaking of working together as a team, they actually saved people. They didn't save people really in the other one. They actually did that in this Snyder Cut. So specifically when they were saving like the scientists and stuff like that they saved people. I like that. I like that a lot. Those are things that I liked about this movie. It was a better film. The question is it a good film in general, whether it's a superhero film or not? Is it good? In my opinion, no. And this is my opinion. I'm not really a fan of Zack Snyder's style. I'm not. And not necessarily his cinematic style. I like the way he makes things look. Like he's very good at that. He makes good looking films. But I am very heavy on writing. I'm very heavy on motivations, why people do things. And while this film did better than its predecessor at establishing motivations, which I will give it, overall the film still made me raise a lot of eyebrows. So I will say at first, I had to watch this more than once because I had to take my source material brain out. Because if I use source material on this, then I will tear this movie apart. So I had to literally try to throw it out as much as I can. It does come in at some points, but I couldn't lead with that. So I thought, what about this as a movie was still making me go, like, what was making the alarms go off? And it was just the same thing that Snyder kind of does, which is just being inconsistent to his own universe and kind of being nonsensical to what's already happening within his own universe. So let's talk about that. Starting with Superman, right? So the mother box brought him back. They said the mother box, can make, smoke back into a house. Like pretty much reverse the process, like make matter into whatever it wants to. Just reverse it back to its original state. Yet for some reason, plot, they wanted to make him come back with no memory, because technically, if he was coming back exactly to where he was, why wouldn't he remember who he is? Why not? What was the point in that? The point was just to get that little scene out, which, as cool as it was to see that whole Ezra Miller Flash thing running and, his eyes following him, as cool as that looks, there was no real reason for that to happen. And it was just weird how, like, the only person he remembered was Lois, right? And I get it, that's his love. But there's no real reason for that to happen. You understand? Like, that's why it was very odd to me, just to have it happen. In this universe, the government takes almost everything alien. They took everything else Kryptonian, all of it. Zod at some point, the ship, but for some reason, not Superman. For some reason, not that body. They didn't want to study his body. His body was conveniently whisked away over there to Kansas somewhere, buried in the suit, whatever. So they uncharacteristically acted a certain way just for the sake of plot for him. Got it. And I think, and mind you, those could be ticky-tack things. Go ahead, you can say that. But that's just me. I am a bit granular. I'm going to say that. I'm a bit granular when it comes to writing because, like, when you read comics and you read certain things, usually you can find a reason as to why things happen within the universe, within the story. That's what I'm used to. Even if it don't just spell it out for you, you can look and see why it happened without the director having to go into an interview and explain why it's happening. Like for the next point, my biggest thing, the black suit. In the source material, I already know that's the suit that he used to recover. That's not the case in this film. So what was the reason for the black suit? If you watch the film, you have no idea. Because even though the blue suit had a hole in it, when he went back to the ship, he walked by another one identical. You could have just put that on, but for some reason, he put on the black suit. But why? What's so special about it? He doesn't say it, but I've heard several different interpretations of it. When I look at one interview, Zack says he has to earn his way back to the suit. Why? He died heroically. What did he do to become unworthy of the suit? Then it was, in a recent interview, he said, oh, well, it has to do with his, the blue suit was about his place on Earth, and the black suit about his place on Krypton. How would a person get that? From hearing Jor-El's voice and hearing his father's voice, that was supposed to tell you? No. It was not explained well. There was literally no reason for him to have it. And at the same time, in the nightmare sequence, he went back to the red and blue suit. So he changed back to the red and blue suit for the nightmare sequence? Or pretty much the supposed future, which he's under control by Darkseid, which apparently has to do with Lois, which, by the way, like, that's so weird. Like, the emphasis on Lois. And I guess that can lead into another thing, which was like Martian Manhunter. Why was he there? I heard that he really wanted to put Green Lantern in that place, and I'm actually glad. If he was going to use Green Lantern the same way, that would have sucked. But he used Martian Manhunter. He had her go there disguised as Martha Kent to give her like a pep talk. Why would he be there in the first place? Like, how would he know that Lois is the key to, like, was he having premonitions about the nightmare thing too? How would he know? Oh, the world needs you. Why would the world need her? They want us to like this character for some reason, and it just, I don't care. And then he comes in at the end, talking to Batman, saying, yeah, they call me Martian Manhunter. Who's they? Who's they? No one knows you're on this planet. Who is they? Right? And also, where were you when we needed you? Apparently, he's been this general that's been there since Man of Steel. Where's this hero? You could have helped during that. You could have helped during Batman vs. Superman. We definitely needed you during the Darkseid battle. Where was that? Anyone? Anyone got me here? Nope, nobody knows like why he didn't join in. Oh, I get it. It's just for fan service. Whatever. Who cares, right? Next, if I have to go into Batman, a little bit of source material stuff here. He's supposed to be like the best detective, right? The world's greatest detective, and prep time is a godly weapon of his. Besides, obviously being rich, as he stated here again, which I thought was a Whedon cut. Which I'll say, that's just as like an overall thing. I was surprised by how much of Snyder's vision was in the original one. It wasn't all, obviously. There were definitely some things he took out, but some weird things were still there that I was like, wow, I thought that was Whedon. Like, the way Flash runs, but we'll get to that later. So, Batman, for some reason, only made his gauntlets, like the little wrist braces, able to disperse force, but not the whole suit. So, it was all dependent on him being able to block the lasers in or bullets or whatever it was. That doesn't sound smart. I feel like, in the comics that we've seen, I'm only mentioning the comics because there's already a better alternative to this type of thinking, that he would have made the entire suit this way, correct? That just me that finds that whatever, right? So we have that. right? He's also not as, like, he's not that smart, because I mean, I get that Cyborg is supposed to be smart, but wouldn't he have been able to make his own ship at the very least? He's over here building suits and stuff like that, but he can't. Like, Alfred was pretty smart. He was more ingenuity, and so was Cyborg, but this Batman was kind of like just kind of along for the ride. And in terms of his 20 years of being Batman, I personally, it's a personal thing. I mean, this whole thing is a personal thing, just my opinion, but I'm just saying, 20 years of Batman, all we've got to show for is Commissioner Gordon. I know they showed that he had one suit that was supposed to be like a Jason Todd Robin, but what if there were others? What if he just walked in and you saw the Bat-King, saw a whole bunch of suits, and we were like, oh, cool, Barbara, Dick Grayson, whatever. It's like 20 years, but what does he have to really show for it? It's almost as if all the other people, it was just, where are they? It's just Joker and that's it. Whatever, that's just a me thing. That's just one hope that they fleshed him out a bit more. And I guess that was supposed to happen in the other Justice League movie, but still, didn't really get it here. Moving on, Flash, The Run, still sucks. It was really cool what they did with him, though, when it came to the ending, right? When they actually had him go back in time, that was awesome. I like the fact that they did not succeed. The fact that the heroes did not do everything correct, that was awesome. I love that. And then he had to save the day with that. That was cool. And it was sucked. The only time that he ran correctly was CG, right? I did think it was superbly creepy when he's over there like touching Iris's face when she's about to die and all that. And I just don't like how awkward he is. I don't buy that. It's just kind of odd. It's really, really odd to me. Cyborg, I loved. I love Cyborg, honestly. I just didn't understand why his dad had to die for that. It was just one of them things where it's just sacrifice for the sake of sacrifice. Like, you know, like how Superman's dad really didn't need to die, and Man of Steel, like, he clearly could have gone and got him and no one would have been able to see him. It's like, this was a remote. You mean to tell me this is not something he could have done remotely and heated up the mother box as well? No. Is that me thinking a certain, whatever. I guess it's just me. That's just what I want. The weird Wonder Woman calling him Kal-El. How does she, the last son of Krypton, how does she know that? That's something that only him and his parent know. Did he have that conversation right before he died? Because when she met him, like, he was dying. Like, he was fighting Doomsday at the same time. So where did she learn all this? Like, were the Amazons also prepped on Kryptonians? I don't know. You tell me. Help me out there. Like, these little things are very, very weird, right? Next, we have, like, Steppenwolf, Darkseid, and I guess kind of Wonder Woman's included in this too, in terms of, like, power scaling and motivation. So yeah, Steppenwolf has another motivation. He wants to get back in the good graces of Darkseid. What did he do to get out of there? He betrayed him. Not sure why Darkseid didn't kill him. They don't really speak about that. He's this ruthless guy, but won't kill this dude. He wants him to conquer more stuff. Whatever. That's just the story, right? But it was stupid because Steppenwolf, every time he talked to Desaad, he just kept complaining the whole time over and over again, like, I have to find the third mother box. They're calling out to me. He actually told him the plan like 3 different times, the same thing, like it changed, right? Also, can you tell me why did it take him over 5,000 years to come back to the same planet for which he knew the mother boxes were already on? This movie began saying that the only reason why they awoke was because Superman, it was scared of Superman. But Superman wasn't on the planet for that long. So why weren't they already awakened by something? Why wouldn't Darkseid have come to the planet earlier and gotten this? I don't understand. Why wouldn't that have happened? Like, he could, why, I mean, he comes in at the end of the movie, he watches Steppenwolf get killed, doesn't just step through with Granny and Desaad, which means if Granny exists, the Furies probably exist, which is what I'm thinking. I mean, I could be wrong here. Which would be very powerful beings, which if Steppenwolf was whipping everybody's ass but Superman, are we to say that Darkseid, who it took gods and whole armadas to beat him, could not come in there and at least stave off Superman while the rest of his people could have came in? Because he also has Orion, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of people that, I mean, obviously I'm talking source material stuff, but it looks like they were leaning a little bit on it when it came to Darkseid's depiction, at least, right? He got his ass whipped when he came to Themyscira the first time and was trying to get the mother boxes and trying to unite them and got beat by the gods, which is interesting because if you're talking about power scaling here, you know, if you watch anime, you know that there's a lot of, or not enough of, the power scaling. You understand Wonder Woman technically went 1v1 with Ares, who was able to beat him. Ares was able to beat Darkseid. and with obviously the help of the gods and stuff like that, but still was able to was able to fight him pretty handily. So are we saying, by that logic, she shouldn't really have a hard time with Steppenwolf? But she did, and if that's the case, then Darkseid could come in there and really wipe the floor with a lot of them. Didn't happen. He stepped through, said we're gonna go to the old way and do the Armada. Why didn't you do that earlier? Like 1,000 years earlier. Why didn't you do that? Because apparently he came before Wonder Woman was alive. So why didn't he do that before? This is what I'm talking about. These are all like questions that I have after watching that movie, and it's not explained. It doesn't actually make sense. Like another movie wouldn't help that. That's something that just didn't make much sense. It just happened. It just happened. I'm not really gonna get too much into the slow motion. Yes, the slow motion was stupid. It was annoying, but that's Zack Snyder's style. Whatever, right? But the plot things like that just seem really weird to me. And it's like everyone's like, "This is an amazing movie." If you like Zack Snyder's, trilogy, more power to you. That's your opinion. That's cool. But for me, I like continuity. And yes, it was actually more in line with his vision and what he was trying to do. But it doesn't seem like he pays much attention to the type of things that he has. Like, I don't understand. Do you? I mean, am I the only one that's thinking this? Something else that I see is happening after this, after all this stuff that we're talking about with the movie. Now it's restore the Snyder Cut. Restore the SnyderVerse. Pardon me. Why? Like, the movies have kind of already moved past it. Like, oh, we can use it as a parallel. No. If anything, DC needs a complete makeover where they can just focus on one-offs. Like, see how Joker's happening, and see how Batman, the new Batman movie, seems to be in its own universe. Like, you're gonna do contained stuff, and I guess by that logic, a SnyderVerse could happen. But it's like, I don't really want to see that, especially after I saw the little Justice League 2 leaks, which he confirmed to be true, about Batman getting Lois pregnant, and her literally saying, "You're not the father," and then Superman raising Batman's kid. And it actually almost looks like they will go. If you really like look at what his leaks were for what the following film was gonna be, and then look at this film, you understand everything's exactly true. It's absolutely true. But whatever. And another thing I guess that was kind of weird about this film. No, I'm going back and forth. Part of me, it's just that as I'm talking, I'm remembering some of these things. I obviously know he was heavily influenced by Injustice, which is a cool story. However, it's Injustice without all the nuance, because obviously at some point Lois gets killed. You see that when Cyborg is, like trying to bring Superman back to life, and he has like a little quick vision, and that's the point for which this guy gets weak enough to get weakened by the anti-life equation, who apparently Darkseid forgot was on the planet. Don't know how he forgot that. Whatever. I don't know how. How do you forget that? Whatever. So, and didn't he like carve it into the? Okay, I'm thinking too much. But yeah, this is how Superman is weakened enough to be part of the anti-life equation, be controlled by Darkseid. Got it. And that's how he becomes evil, and it's where the nightmare universe becomes real. But obviously in Injustice, it's more than that. It's him losing his faith in humanity and saying, like, you guys can't make decisions. I'm gonna start doing exactly what I should have been doing this whole entire time. What makes it terrifying is that this is Superman making all these decisions. He's not being controlled. This is him thinking this is the right way to do things. So it's like, it's Injustice without all the nuance that makes the story really cool, is what he's trying to lead to. And I think that's always something that I've really not liked about Zack Snyder's view, is that he like takes DNA from all these cool stories, but then all the cool stuff about them is thrown out the window. Like, why do we have Death of Superman like that? Why is the suit here without having the cool properties of it? Why are we talking about like Dark Knight Returns with it's all these things that he likes putting in there, but just without all the cool nuance of those stories. But that's my opinion, by the way, my opinion. All right. But no, I don't think it should be restored. I think they should. They actually had an interview. I forgot the lady's name, with Variety, who said they're not going in that direction. They're doing one-offs and stuff like that. So if that's what they're going to be doing, I'm more excited about that. Just try to revive the DCEU in general. Like, try to do the right thing by that universe before trying to restore another person's universe that wasn't all that cohesive, in my opinion, in general. So yeah, that's just my review of it. This is what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're like, oh, I agree, I didn't really like it. It was a better movie than the original, but not a good movie. Or if you're like, you know what, You're wrong. I love Snyder, everything about him. Write that in the comments down too. I'm good with that. Until then, into the nerd.